to the jury exactly in your own words what happened after that. Walter went off the road and we went skidding into a pole head on. It was terrible. Did you see the approaching impact? Yes, I am sorry to say I did. Did you say anything at the time, or did anybody say anything? After we left the road, I remember Walter saying, "Oh my God, we're going to crash." And then I just remember looking up and just as a matter of fact, panicking as the pole came at my face. Will you please describe what happened to you at the time of impact? I was thrown from my seat onto the floor, and the seat came over and pinned me to the floor under the dashboard. I was really hurt. Then what occurred to the best of your recollection? Well, I was screaming for an ambulance. Casey was standing there in a state of shock. Did you see Natalie? Yes, she was bleeding and running around hysterically, and I somehow got myself out of the car and walked down the road to a house that was way out in the fields. Did you go into that house? Yes. Who was there? A man and woman and their son. I stumbled in and fell on the floor, and they put a blanket over me. How did you feel after the accident? Can you tell us? Well, I had stabbing pains in my back. It felt sort of twisted. Did you feel any pain anywhere else? And in my ankle, which began to swell up like a balloon. Did an ambulance come at some time? Yes, and they inched me onto a stretcher and into the ambulance. Where were you taken at the time? I was transported to a hospital and then wheeled into the emergency room where they took x-rays. Did your parents come? Yes, and they decided to have me removed to a hospital near my home in New Jersey. How was that done? It was done by stretcher. I was taken in an ambulance again. Which hospital did they take you to, if you can recall at this time? I was taken to Orange Orthopedic Hospital. I was strapped down in the ambulance for the trip to the hospital. What did they do after you reached the New Jersey hospital, if anything, that you recall? First, they put me on a stretcher-type device, which they cranked up so that my back was right on the bump or hump of the contraption. But the next morning they lowered me so I could lie flat. And the following week I got my body brace. Will you please tell us how you felt during this particular period of time? The pain never ceased. It was just a stabbing pain, and there was a constant sort of tightness. Did you say you were given something? I was fitted, I think I said, with a brace that had a center point made of what, in my opinion, was aluminum. It also had some padding, and I believe, and it had 2 bars that came across my bust down to my waist. Would you please stand up and show it to the jury if you don't mind? Of course. You see, there was another center point that lay right up here, which was shaped like a triangle. As I say, it had 2 aluminum bars, and then it had a piece across my back, to the best of my recollection, about 8 inches wide, and as a matter of fact, it had a metal clamp screwed to the contour of my body. I must say, it was quite a thing. Was this applied in the hospital, did you say? It was. Did you say that you initially wore it in the hospital? That is right. How long did you remain in the hospital? I was there 9 days. When you left, did you still wear it? Yes. Had you received instructions with respect to it? Yes, I was told that I had to wear it all the time. How did you feel when you left the hospital? The pain had subsided a bit, and the brace helped, but the pain was still continual. Did you return to school? I did. Were you still wearing the brace? Yes, I was wearing it under my clothes. How did it affect you, would you say? It limited my motion, like bending forward and arching. It seemed like I just couldn't relax at all. May I ask you this? Did you sleep in it? I did. Can you tell us about how long this brace stayed on? It was on for about 3 months, and believe me, it was most uncomfortable. Even with squirming, I could never find a restful position. Did you have any obligations insofar as household chores were concerned before the accident? My sister usually washed. After school I used to sweep and dust too.